Hey Susan, you matter. I want to make you a video, start making you videos about homelessness and give you material to help you in your writing. I'm just going to ramble here and hope that when I get done that it's not such a big file I can't upload it. So um, I'm going to go backwards. I want to start with the most recent issue and then I'll back up and talk in general about homelessness. But here's what happened to me as a homeless person in the last week that totally fucked my life, and the government did it to me. So, um, I worked 4 different jobs in the last year, and I was homeless throughout all 4 jobs. I gave them Patrick's son's address, and that's where I received my corporate mail. Whatever bullshit they wanted me to have, they sent me there, and I got it. And my W-2s all showed up there. When I went to file my taxes electronically, it turns out there's a new law this year. Everyone has to have an IPPIN number, and the government sends you one. Well, if you're homeless, you didn't get that number. So you cannot file your taxes electronically. That is not an option. I was depending on that option so I could file my taxes and borrow against them immediately and get cash within days. And that was no longer available to me because I didn't have an IPPIN number. Now, on the IRS website, you can electronically get yourself an IPPIN number if you have a auto loan, a mortgage, or a credit card. I've never had any one of those things. I've always bought my cars privately. I've never had a mortgage, never qualified for a credit card. So I cannot electronically get an IPPIN. Then I finally, after an hour of waiting, got the IRS on the phone. And I even played the harp for the woman, told her she was my angel. Please help me straighten this out. She asked me my mother's maiden name, my social security. I gave her everything except there was some old Beaverton address in the system. She's trying to give me hints. I don't know. It's been 30 years since I interacted with the government. I didn't even live in Beaverton then. I have no idea what they're talking about. No idea. So they wouldn't give me an IPPIN number. So now I have no option but to file my taxes on paper and wait for the IRS to send me a check. Where are they going to send my check if I'm fucking homeless? They claim it was, we can't give it to you because we can't tell it's you. I get benefits from the government electronically every month. I have ID. I have my social security number. I have all the W-2s, but nope, can't tell it's you. The only way we'll know it's you is if you mail it in. I can mail it in without knowing my mother's maiden name, without anything. That's way less secure. And now they're going to send a check. And if you're homeless, you have to now arrange someplace for a check to show up and for them to be able to reach you. You don't have a phone, you're on a sidewalk or whatever. In my case, I'm going cross country. So this is a systematic way for the government to cheat the poor out of their tax return. I was not the only employee who was homeless working for Safeway or for Columbia Fruit or for FedEx or for Amazon. There were homeless people sleeping in every one of those parking lots. So it's okay. They're fine with that they understand who I am and that they know my identity when they take my money out of my check while I lay in the back of my car. But no, you can't have it back because we can't figure out who you are because you're homeless. Got to have credit, loans, or a home, or you're fucked. That's the kind of shit we need to talk about. You can have judgment about why somebody hit the street. It might have been a natural disaster like Texas, or it might have been domestic violence, or they may have had a drug problem, or they crashed and burned out of their job. There's a lot of good reasons, and there's a couple of bad ones. But nobody leaves their home and moves onto a sidewalk because it's easier. You have to spend all day, every day, figuring out where you're going to get some food. Where you're going to shit is a really big one. Where you're going to pee and shit. How are you going to get warm? How are you going to get dry when it doesn't stop raining for weeks on end? And way more other issues. But let's just start with those. So homelessness is vicious. But you don't need the government piling on. If I'm hungry, if I'm a low-income person, or even a middle-class person who's willing to lie, I can go get in the line at the and say I can't. I need food. You're still eligible, but if I get in line for the food bank and tell them I'm homeless, I don't get any food. They don't give me a little carry pack. Here's some snacks that you can handle. I get nothing, and it's political and financial. They have stuff I can carry as a homeless person and consume. They tell you the reason they say no is because they don't want to give you food that you can't use because you don't have a kitchen. But they also tell you that it's paperwork. Every person, and they have to have an ID to sign into a food bank. So if you don't have ID, you don't get food. But if you're lucky enough to have an ID, then you sign in, and now they get paid. That nonprofit gets money from someone because they fed you. So if you can't prove your identity, you can't get any food. And if you're homeless, you don't get food because they don't want you to waste it. So the most desperate people have a hard time getting anything out of a food bank. The people who do get something are going to get a shit ton of sugar. They're getting better, and it depends on which one you visit, but definitely getting better. There's no more produce and stuff. But they're going to give you all the bread you can handle, which is just sugar. They're going to give you sugar. Here, have some donuts. Here, have a cake. Sometimes soda. All kinds of, sugar-filled, refined products. Lots of macaroni and cheese and ramen kind of shit. And some produce. Some dairy that's past its prime. Grateful to have it, but a lot of it's cancer causing, and it's all I've got. So there's no balance there. It's better than nothing, but you can't stay healthy. And they give you enough food for, they say 3 days, maybe a week, depending on how you space it out. There's a whole lot of month left. And then there's food stamps. I had food stamps off and on for many years, and how they calculate the numbers is just insane, and they just change it willy-nilly at random. But the rules at the food of the SNAP are very interesting. So you get a card, and money shows up there every month. I got anywhere from 140 to say 240 at times a month in this support. You can't buy cooked food. So once again, the homeless are fucked. I can buy a frozen chicken and carry it out of there, but I can't buy a cooked chicken. So the homeless guy has no way to cook the food, so you gotta pick and choose off of mostly boxed stuff. I can't buy prenatal vitamins or supplements for my children, but I can buy them all the ice cream and soda and cookies with that food card that I would love to give to my kids. Someone raised this question to me about, they are offended because they saw somebody with a SNAP card buying expensive groceries, maybe lobster or I don't remember what it was, a cake, big old cake, birthday cake. And they were offended that the government was providing them with a card to buy cake. Do you know what it's like for a poor child to have a birthday? Every other kid in school is bragging about their party and their presents and the cakes and the parties, and you got nothing to give that child. But a government card that you can go get a $5 cake, give your kids some kind of birthday. So please shut the fuck up on that one. The emotional role of homeless children is unbelievable. One year for my son's birthday, a few years ago actually, I bought, I probably spent $15 on food stamps on lobster. Ezekiel had wanted to taste lobster tails his whole life, just something that it was on his bucket list. And it was all I could do for a special treat on his birthday. So instead of going to a restaurant and a party and the whole bit, he got a little gift and a balloon and some lobster tails. And that's what poor children go through. So, yeah, I'm more concerned about all the candy and ice cream and crap that the card lets me buy than I might splurge and buy something extravagant once in a while. So that's food stamps. So let's talk about the echelons of homeless people. There are those who are just on the street. I mean, there's a lot of them in Vegas. You don't see as many in a climate like this. But there's a lot of them in places like Vegas and LA and Miami. They're just walking down the sidewalk and they got nothing but a shirt on, maybe some shoes. They're not dressed warm enough to make it through a night in this weather, and they don't have any belongings. They're hoping that whatever they may have and stashed in a bush somewhere is still there. But can't tell you how many times a homeless friend in Las Vegas told me everything they owned was gone. They're starting over from shirt and shoes. So there's them. Then there's the homeless that sleep on the sidewalks, that literally lay down on the sidewalks. And some of those are the folks you see with nothing and they go find a blanket in a bush somewhere and lay on the sidewalk. But there are those that are fairly well prepared. They have their rolling cart, they have a sleeping bag, maybe some cardboard to put under them. But their sleeping arrangement is a sidewalk every night. That's getting easier in COVID. A lot of cities like Portland have loosened up the rules and they're just leaving people alone. They're laying on the sidewalk. Then there are those who have the tents. That's good living. You're out of the water. You're out of the little bit of warmth. You can get your body heat and a bunch of blankets and stay warm and dry, and that's a start. And then some get bigger tents and build, collect some junk and kind of build a little barrier around their tent so it looks a little more like a homestead and they feel safer. And then you step up a notch to the homeless living in their cars. Most of them aren't quite as abundant and blessed as I am. Their car isn't big enough to stretch out in like mine is, and it's totally full of stuff because they don't have a room to unload some of it in, or they're making laps to a storage unit and rotating things out of the car. Now remember, all the people we've discussed up until now do not have showers. They do not have toilets. They do not have running water. They do not have electricity. They do not have a place to cook. They have to make all those things happen creatively. Survivor style. Now, those living in the car, if they have any money at all, can move around a little to find a bathroom. But that all ended with the pandemic. Very few places. You have to drive to a place like Fred Meyer will let you use a bathroom, or Walmart, but the gas stations are rare anymore. The libraries where the homeless used to live during the day are closed. I mean, the choices are slim. But a person living in their car can drive to a store and get a little more to eat if they got food. They can drive and look for a bathroom, and they have more options if they want to do some kind of gig work and, find a job on Craigslist and get somewhere and make some money. And then there's those, the next level up. I guess the next level up would be me. Was basically living out of the car, but had this little studio I was renting where I could charge a phone, use a bathroom, and get warm. And even though I wasn't supposed to sleep in here, cook in here, I don't have a shower, I'm missing a lot of things. The electricity in the bathroom is just huge. I'm comfortable sleeping in the car, so I'm kind of the next level. The people that live in their car, but they've got a place they can go to charge a phone or to get warm or whatever, but they live out of their car. And then the next level of homeless, which you probably never even considered, is those who are couch surfing. They don't have a place of their own, but they do have a roof over their head. They have a bathroom. They have access to electricity and a place to cook. But who knows how rough and abusive that situation might be, living in the middle of someone else's home. And, what you owe for that and what that looks like. So there are some other gray areas above that. Those who are facing eviction and they're basically camping in their home waiting for the sheriff to come to the door. There's some other gray areas, but that's basically the different levels of homelessness. And believe me, those of us who are on one of those levels are all aware of where we fit in the spectrum, just like the suburban guy knows where he fits in Beverly Hills or not. The class system is clear, and the homeless people that I interact with down the street here treat me like a god. There's definitely a class thing going on between us. And because I've passed them quite a bit of money, I've been generous and helpful, and I have a car, an expensive instrument, and they definitely look at me differently than they look at each other. And it's interesting. I'm studying that dynamic of human behavior on how we put ourselves in a class and we behave in a certain way that identifies us economically. So very interesting. Let's see. I think the biggest thing, one of the other ways the government screws the homeless is the laws. Up until the pandemic, police were vicious to the homeless, and they moved you around and they woke you up and they drove you off. And, it was very difficult to find a sidewalk where you could sleep without being arrested or harassed. And, I don't give it a lot of thought or dwell on it because I'm a badass third-degree black belt who trained for years and did security for other at-risk folks. But most homeless people aren't safe. They're sleeping out in the world where other homeless are out roaming around where they can easily be attacked. So homeless women are in danger of being raped and being victims of domestic violence at a very, very high rate. So let me see if I can upload this video, and I will make you another one soon.